Food and weight obsession can be exhausting. Losing weight, gaining weight, dieting, feeling like a failure because you missed a workout, binged, overate, or gained all the weight back. The cycle is endless and it can be maddening. But I'm here to say you can stop the mental madness. You can take back control of your food behaviors, but you have to face your fears, you have to ask for help, and make a change. I am Leslie M. Thornton, permanent weight loss coach from hpwl.co. This is Hypnosis for Permanent Weight Loss, and I know you can make this happen. On this podcast, you will hear how to stop the mental madness, love your body, trust your food decisions so you can create a life of happiness, freedom, and inner peace. Hello, Leslie M. Thornton, Hypnosis for Permanent Weight Loss, Controller, Perfectionist, Indulger parts. Oh my goodness. What the heck does that even mean? Recently in Hypnosis for Permanent Weight Loss, we have been talking parts work in a big way. Now, the Food, Body, and Weight eating program for food addicts that I used to follow used to also do parts work, and I loved it. It was awesome. It was deep. It was beautiful. There was awarenesses. It made me calm down. But we at Hypnosis for Permanent Weight Loss have evolved and started doing parts work with a twist. Why? Because it's more powerful and it's more fun, but most of all, it's mostly more transformational. My intention for all my clients at Hypnosis for Permanent Weight Loss is that they feel confident to know how to handle their big, bad emotions. Why? Because the one thing that drives me nuts is when programs work while you're in it, and then after you're done, you're like a fish out of water because you're just codependent on the program and you don't actually feel empowered to use this stuff on your own. So we actually train our clients in the emotional mastery tools and make sure that they feel confident in using them prior to their graduation so that afterwards they continue their life knowing how to handle big emotions. Not only that, they continue to have their app with the hypnosis and emotional mastery tools, their modules for their lifetime, and the community support. So yeah, that's a really great thing to do. So let me describe a little bit and hopefully offer you a little bit of value when it comes to talking about parts. So what is a part? Basically, all of us, when we're born, we come in as blank slates. Our unconscious mind is completely like a sheet of paper that has nothing on it. It's blank, blank, blank. You are just here in the world. You are present. You might as well be a little meditating yoga booty. That's the best Buddha, because that is the ultimate of just being here now with nothing added, just experiencing whatever is what you're seeing. And then as you continue going through life, different things happen. You experience conflict. You experience your first emotions in the body. You experience anger, fear, sadness, guilt, shame. You witness severances in relationships if your parents ever were divorced, or even if your mom was a chronic dieter and you saw her be upset about the way she looked, or start to pull apart her fats and start saying like, oh, that roll and that roll, and oh, I really can't eat that because it's bad for you, right? All of these different things enter into your consciousness and you start creating in your brain these little synaptic ties, right? Where it's like this equals that and this equals that, these associations. And therefore you end up by the time you're about 10 years old with all of these automatic beliefs, behaviors, ways of doing life, believing this way of doing things is better than that way. which is why a lot of my clients will have the question of like, how come I struggle with this so much and my friend Susie doesn't? Right. Or how come I struggle with this and my husband like could take or leave food? Like it's not fair. Something definitely must be wrong with me. I'm an addict. This is the type of stuff that goes through our brain. Newsflash. No, none of that's true. I always say to my clients, the only thing that's wrong with you is that you believe that there's something wrong with you. We actually like that is also one of the blockages that got into your previously blank slate unconscious mind, is that you believe that there's something wrong with you. So what happens is when those things happen, it creates a blockage, if you will, in your neurology. So if you're imagining like a perfectly beautifully running, in your bloodstream, it's like, and then you just throw something in there, it's like now it's blocked. Okay, you'll hear a lot of people in personal development talk about clearing away blocks. All right. And one of the ways that we can do this is by doing parts work. And so, what would it be like if when you were procrastinating, or you were binge eating, or you were overeating, or you were participating in any other bad behavior that you judge and get super upset with yourself about, that you could actually just use a tool to support you in clearing the block and making it so that you can easily and effortlessly just make a choice that feels in alignment with your mind and body and with your life and is supporting you towards your goals. And you made that part of the way that you're living your life so that more of your life can feel consistent. You master consistency in your life, motivation, your energy comes back. Is that a tool that you would like to have in your tool belt? Raise of hands. Okay, I would imagine that everybody would want their hand raised for that, because who doesn't want to feel consistency and motivation and energy on a regular basis anytime you want? So let's give you a little rendition here, and maybe sometime we could have someone come on and we could do a little demo in the podcast, because that's always cool. So what we do is we identify, and you can, as a listener, identify right now a part of yourself that holds you back. So maybe this is your procrastinator part, or maybe this is your controller part, or your perfectionist part, or your indulger part, meaning like the part of you that loves to overindulge on food, or like has that voice that's like, you should eat that. You only get that one time a year. Like you deserve that. You had a really hard day. Like that might be the whisper of your indulger part in your ear. Or there could be, your perfectionist part would basically come down on you, right? Or this could also look like maybe your inner critic part, and be like, after you do listen to your indulger part about eating the piece of cake, then all of a sudden your judger part kicks in and is like, I can't believe you did that. You are so fat, right? Like you can't control yourself, right? Your inner shamer part, like you can name it whatever. It's less important about getting the name right. It's the reason we label them is so that you have the ability to separate yourself from them. Okay. For example, it's like when you're feeling stressed and anxious and you feel like I can't control myself, you can be like, wait a second, this is probably a part of myself. So if I actually have a conversation with this part of me, I can unblend myself from it, meaning I'm not just thinking that's who I am, because you're not that. You're not your parts, even though it feels like it. Your parts have their own belief systems. They have their own, way of going about life. And when you're not aware of a part that you have, or you haven't communicated with it or learned how to coexist with it, it's not about eradicating the parts. So a big mistake that I see is that people will feel that energy of like the inner judger or shamer coming on, and they immediately are like, get away, get away, get away, get away, because it feels painful. That voice is like very like upsetting, and like could make us cry and feel pain. And our whole unconscious mind's job is to help us to not feel pain. And so, but once we actually learn the tools how to safely feel the pain and navigate past it, through it, beyond it, be with it, then we start to realize that on the other side of that is, number one, being able to take care of yourself, your own feelings, your own thoughts, your own emotions. So you're not as needy. You're not using food as a way to soothe. you're just like showing up in life as a confident, radiant human being that is self-sufficient, and can actually be of greater service to other human beings, because when you show up, you're not showing up with lack or fear or anger or sadness, because you're mastering how to take care of that for you. Then you can make more money because of this, right? You can attract better relationships or up level your current relationships that you have. But it does require that work. It does require wanting this. It does require making a change. Okay. So identify the part of you that you would like that holds you back. Okay. And so I want you to imagine that you can actually bring this part right now to the forefront, and imagine you can actually interview this part. So even with my clients, I have them go like, brrr, like if they're in a swivel chair, I'll have them like turn around the swivel chair and then they come back as the part of themselves. Okay. So say this is the indulger part. All right. I'll do a little example. So we'll bring on Leslie's indulger part. It's like, hi, Leslie's indulger part. How are you? Sounds silly. Again, this exercise is very transformational. Like, great. It's like, thank you for being here today. Really appreciate your willingness to have this conversation. So how long have you been a part of Leslie's life? It's like, and then the client thinks back and it's like, so then you can think for yourself, like, how long has this part been part of your life? It's like, wow, probably since I was a little girl. The first thought that flashes into my mind was like grandma had soda and cookies at her house. And I think that was just like such a fun and exciting thing that I just like took advantage of. Um, it's like, okay. And so when you are, telling Leslie to eat more and to, have the food or whatever, what's your goal for her? Like, why do you want her to do that? It's like, oh, because it makes her feel good. It makes her feel happy. It makes her feel safe, right? It makes her, engage socially with people, all of these different positive things. And then you could say back of like, wow, well, thank you so much. Like, that's a really awesome thing that you want for Leslie, for her to have those things and like make her life better. And then you can kind of say to them like, and I want to let you know that sometimes when you're telling Leslie to indulge, she's eating way more than what makes her feel comfortable and safe. I will say that now that I'm beyond this, like, I barely ever eat more than I should. So this is the power of doing the work. But I'll speak from my indulger part prior to this, where it would like, it's like, I want to let you know that sometimes when you're telling Leslie to eat more and more and more, she actually feels sick. She eats like a lot. She may like really drink too much, and it makes her feel really bad and not happier. It's not making her safer. It's not making her more social. It's actually making her isolate herself more, or like leave early so she can like stop and like get food, or eat a lot before bed by herself. It makes her exhausted because she'll sign up for courses just in the evening so that she won't eat, right? Like her whole life is trying to like avoid you and like listen to you way too much at the same time. And it's really causing her a lot of pain. And you like imagine that the indulger part, like really like, it's like, oh, like, I don't want to do that to her. Like, that's sucky. I don't want to cause her pain. Or maybe it says something in response of being like, well, she needs it because life is hard and it's stressful. So she needs to have those things sometimes. Like, yeah, I got it. Thank you. I get that. And it's still hurting her, right? Like, it's still, you can see how it's getting in her way, can't you? And it's like, yeah, I can. It's like, okay. It's like, so I'm just curious because I know you want the best for Leslie. Do you think it's possible that there is something else that you can focus indulging on? Because I know that's your role. Like, your job as the indulger part is to indulge. And there are good things about indulging. So is there something that you could indulge on that's actually really good for Leslie that could support her in feeling better and happier, and like make her better at her work and better with her relationships and better in all these ways? Like, what would be something you could indulge on that would that would both fulfill your needs, but then also fulfill Leslie's. And then you give yourself a second to really think about that. And it's like, oh, uh, maybe I could like overindulge on meditation. What if I did that? And you want to choose something that's authentic. Don't just choose what I'm saying. Like it's got to feel right to you. So it's like, or like, what if I could indulge on being in my hot tub and like really indulge and like be with, um, just the nature and adoring your backyard and this life you've created for yourself. Like, what if we could really indulge? Or what if we could really indulge on the good things that are happening? What if we had you focus on like all of the amazing things that are happening and indulge on that? Or what if we indulged in a book? What if we indulged in like a new TV series? Because, depending on who it is, right? Maybe you don't allow yourself to watch, and it would be soothing to watch something like that, or maybe we can indulge in, going on a really long walk or a hike in the woods. And, and, and this is, something that we teach at hypnosis, like indulging on food can also be okay, right? And it's just like letting the indulger part know, like, and sometimes the choice that you do prefer is to like indulge on some food, or indulge on something that's like that, and like that's okay too. And we want to invite you, like, let's get more creative with what we want to indulge on. And then you kind of ask it, like, how does that feel to you? Does it feel like something that you might be able to do is like change and pivot your indulging, in that avenue a little bit more? And sometimes the part will be really on board with that and cool with it. And sometimes the part's like, well, I guess so, but like I still don't trust her. Like, okay, well, what could Leslie do to support you in feeling safe to pivot to indulging on these other things? And it's like, well, I guess she's in the middle of this process right now of learning how to feel her feelings. So maybe in time I could start to like ease in and feel safer, um, knowing that she's okay to feel the pain, right? And realizing that she doesn't die. And maybe if she, actually did meditate, like, and she actually did feel her feelings, it would make me feel safer and I could indulge on those other things a little more. It's like, great. So if I tell Leslie, about this conversation and your willingness to indulge on those positive things, and asking her if she could please meditate and kind of be with you a little bit more and feel safe in those ways, and like allow sometimes for her to indulge on food or whatever, as a way to soothe, and that be okay, that like you two can be in agreement. And usually it's like, yeah, I think we could do that. So it's like, great. So let's bring Leslie back on. Right. And then I have my client swivel a chair, brrr, and you can like do it yourself. Okay. It's like, hi, Leslie. I just spoke to your indulger part, and she's saying she's been part of your life for so long, and she just has the best intentions for you, wants you to feel more connected and safe. Excuse me. And and she's actually willing, because she knows that sometimes she has you indulge too much in ways that doesn't feel good, that's like hurting you, and she doesn't want to do that anymore. And so she was wondering if you guys could have a little bit of an agreement where maybe sometimes you let yourself indulge when it really feels like what you want to do with food, but she would also like to indulge a little bit more on other things like hot tubbing and hiking and meditating. How does that sound? And it's like, that sounds great. And then something happens. So it's like, again, it can just be like, oh, okay, like whatever, if you're just listening to this, but I actually invite you to take this exercise on for yourself, because after you have that conversation and you get to an agreement, something changes in your field. You feel more expansive and just like, like breath, like just easy air. And then what happens right after is that part of you starts to unblend, and you can see it in your day-to-day life. So a little bit more, it'll be like, oh, wow, there she is. And I'm trying to like hate her. I'm trying to push her away, but I'm actually supposed to listen to her. And like, I'm allowed to give her, the food if that's what we really want to have. But maybe what she actually would benefit from indulging on is the hot tub, or, these other things. So very transformational, feels amazing, makes it so that we get to be in alignment instead of disjointed and having those blockages. And this is how we easily and effortlessly can start to reach our goals without all of the white knuckling and trying to make it so that, it's like your controller part. Consider the fact that your controller part is who's doing the diet. And it's not actually your authentic self. And eventually, because since it's a part of you that's doing it, it's not sustainable. Parts can't run the bus. They're not designed to do that. Your authentic self is who runs the bus. Okay. So once we actually, can be having those parts, you love them, you want to love them, you want to care for them, but then you imagine putting them in the backseat of the car. It's like, I'm driving the bus. Thank you. I'm so happy. Thank you. I know you're trying to keep me safe. Right. But most of the time we're not loving them because we don't know how to love ourselves. And we're just trying to numb it away and like push it away, but it just makes it come back with a vengeance. And then the indulger part is eating boxes and boxes of donuts instead of maybe just one or two. All right. So thank you so much. I hope this has been valuable. Test it out. This work doesn't work unless you work it. And we'll see you next week. Bye. If you are serious about taking action on your struggle with food, body, and weight, then this is for you. Go ahead and text the word hypnosis to 855-BE-ALIVE. That's 855-232-5483. Immediately after texting that number, you will get access to our free training that will tell you why you can't figure the food, body, and weight thing out, why you can't keep weight off even after you've been successful in the past, and how to actually overcome it, including a mini hypnosis session at the end. Don't miss out. Text the word hypnosis to 855-BE-ALIVE. That's 855-232-5483.